Thanks for checking our repair channel. This is going to be kind of a show and tell and review of this particular unit. So that's what this video is going to be about. It's not going to be a how-to repair video or anything like that. We've already repaired this one. I've got other videos online of how to fix some of these things, so I didn't bother making a how-to video. Different things can go wrong with these things, so not every model or every unit like this is the same repair every single time. So that's why I don't make a video on every single one of them that comes through here. So, but if this is the first time you've ever seen our channel or seen one of our videos, we appreciate you finding us. We have about 400 videos on YouTube, so you type in a brand or model or whatever on YouTube, and you'll probably find either a how-to video or how one works or a review or whatever of it, because that's what we do. We just work on fence chargers. We work on cattle scales and load bars. All the information about who we are and where to find out more about us is down in the description down below, the little links down there. But our business is Fencer Fixer Repair. There's our website right there, and our address to send things to. But we do free quotes. We work on all brands and all ages, and 1.5 year warranties on the repairs that we do to a unit. So we don't care how old it is or how new it is. I mean, we work on about anything. So this particular unit is made by Speedrite, or was made by Speedrite. They don't make this model anymore. It's a Speedrite Panther 9800. They've had a bunch of names for it. They've had the SM980, the SM9800. They had a 5800 and a 580 model that were just like this, but smaller in size. Our internals were smaller and less power. Smaller transformers and smaller capacitors and stuff. Just had a smaller unit. This is I believe, I'm educated guess, is a 9.8 output joule unit, I would guess. So probably a 12 stored, somewhere in that range, I guess. So it's a pretty beefy little unit. They make bigger ones, make smaller ones, but this is a good old school mid-range powered unit. They made this unit from probably in the 90s to early 2000s, and then they eventually phased it out. Maybe in the 80s, they might have made it in the late 80s, but definitely in the 90s and early 2000s they were making this model. This got phased out and was replaced by the Speedrite. I guess if you had to look at new ones today by Speedrite, you look at either the 6000 or the 12000i. So 6000 6 output joules, 12,000 12 output joules. So they got one bigger and one smaller. They don't make one exactly the same size as this one anymore. So that what would be made nowadays. So I mean, if you could look at a Speedrite 6000, they're $350, and that's for a smaller unit than this one is. And a 12,000 is going for probably $600 or more, I would guess. So to replace this one, with that brand new 350, 600, if you go with like say Cyclops, you're probably in that $400 range. So these are pretty expensive units to replace. So typically people fix the old ones. I mean, you can buy a new one, but these can still be rebuilt. I mean, they don't make a lot of parts for them, but we repair boards in them. We can get capacitors for them still, or we can retrofit other capacitors into these type of units. Transformers are discontinued, but we can retrofit transformers into them. We've done that a bunch of times. But these are just good old school Speedrite fence chargers. I mean, these old ones from back in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s by Speedrite were really, really well made, kind of overbuilt on their electronics. I'll show you a board for one. This is a main board for one of these units. This is one that we've got rebuilt. The board that's in here is a rebuilt one that we fixed of the original one. Pulled the old board out, went through it, fixed what needed to be fixed, stuck it back in there. We also replaced the capacitors inside there. That got that going. Everything else was fine, but you can see it's the old board. The new boards look nothing like this. This is all old school electronics, all through-hole design. Everything's all soldered on the back, probably done maybe by a machine, but probably was done by a person, maybe. But this is what the board looks like inside there. You see all kinds of capacitors. I mean, you can take all these parts off and solder new parts on. I mean, these aren't specialty parts. They're not no surface mount crap on them. So it's back when you can actually do repair to the actual boards. So if you know what you're doing, you can still fix these boards. And that's what we did to this one inside here, which we went through the board. One part I didn't know what it was on this one was this big resistor right here. The one inside there was bad. I couldn't get any kind of reading across it, but it was all black all the way across the whole resistor. I didn't know what size it was. And this one I could hardly read either. The board doesn't tell you what it is, but it is a resistor. So I ohmed across this one, saw what it was, went and got one that was very similar in ohms rating, soldered it in there. I mean, that was only one part that was wrong. There's other things that were wrong with it. But that's what I like about the old school stuff. You can actually repair the boards. Even though they don't make these boards anymore, if you're smart enough and know what you're doing, you can actually pull these boards out, go through them, fix the boards, install them, and get your stuff running again. You know, because you can find these parts. I mean, these aren't specialty parts. These aren't like specially made for electric fence boxes. These are just electronic parts. So that's one of my rebuilt board. I had to check that board to compare it to the board that was inside this one to see what was exactly wrong with it, because that board's good to go. So this has a couple lights on it. Actually got 3 lights. It has a pulse light there at the bottom, power light here, and an energizer light they call here. So when you plug it in, this light comes on solid red and stays red. So the power light say, hey, the power's on. This light will flash with every pulse, and the light at the bottom flashes with every pulse. They tell you every time it clicks. So when I plug it in, you see it flashing right along there. Kind of hard to see. There you go. You see it flash from the bottom here as well. And what this light at the bottom is, if you get a bad short in the fence, this light will go out. The unit will still click, this light will go out. And if you're not sure if the problem's in the unit or something wrong with the fence, all you would do is unplug it. You disconnect your fence and ground from it, plug it back in. It goes back to clicking and flashing this light. You know, okay, I probably have a problem in my fence somewhere. So, but that's that unit. Put a fence tester across it. This is the one that we use here. It's a Gallagher. The old name was called DVM3, but the current name is called Gallagher Fence Voltmeter. It's just made for electric fence. Probably the best one I know of out there. It's the only brand I know of, electric fence charger wise, electric fence brand wise. Only brand of tester I know of that you can actually get parts for. Speedrite, Zariba, Parmac, whatever. All those other brands, they're decent. They're okay. Whatever. They're not always accurate from brand to brand, model to model. Those brands you can't get parts for. They don't make any parts for their or any replacement parts for their testers. And some brands, they don't even make their own testers. Some brands are made in Taiwan, Japan, China, whatever. But these ones, Gallagher makes these ones in-house. And you can get parts when you get ground probes, you get these studs for them, you get circuit boards. I mean, the only thing that really goes bad is 9-volt battery occasionally goes bad. What I like about these, are really accurate testers for all brands across the board. So that's what I like about them. So we're getting 8.2, 8.5, almost between 8 and 9,000 volts out of it. So it's a hot charger, good voltage coming out of it. Now we're gonna take a wire. I'm gonna just jump across here. So I just put 150 ohm, 20 watt resistor across there. If I did a dead short with just a piece of wire, it'd probably be a lot brighter, but this has got a little bit of a resistance to it. It's not a dead short, so it won't be as big of a spark. So, but yeah, that's all we do. We work on these things for people. We do, like I said, we do free quotes, 18-month warranties on everything that we work on. Work on any age, any brand. If we can't fix it, you don't owe us anything. All you have tied up in is your shipping to get it here. It's always a free quote. If for some reason we can't fix something, or it's just not worth it, or whatever the reason is, you just choose not to do it. If we can fix it, but you don't want to fix it, you don't owe us a penny for looking at it. So you just have your freight getting here. We don't charge you any kind of service charge or labor fee or anything for looking at it. It's always a free quote up front. And but if you want it back unrepaired for whatever reason, then you just pay the freight to get it back. We don't have any service fee for looking at it. So even if you spend like 30 minutes on it, you say, nope, don't fix it, then even if we spent a bunch of time on trying to get it going and figure out what's wrong with it, you say, no, don't fix it. We ship it back to you, still don't only have just a freight to get it back. We don't charge any service fees for looking at it. So, but yeah, we're just an independent shop. All we do is work on these fence chargers for people. We get a lot of units in of different ages, different styles. We don't have any ties to any particular brand. We just work on, you see we got a Gallagher tester, working on a Speedrite unit, but we get Zaribas, Paramax, Stayfix, Cyclops, Power Wizard, old International Super 9800s, or Super 98, Super 100s, Red Snapper. If it's a fence box, even the oddball brands that aren't really made much anymore, or the private labeled ones made by other brands, like Ken Cove and Powerfield, stuff like that. We'll work on those as well. We have access to parts for all brands that are still made today. We can rebuild old parts. We can retrofit parts into other units that are obsolete. We can about make anything run again. You just got to put the time and effort into doing it, that sort of thing. So, but anyways, we're happy you found our video. Please subscribe to the channel. Hit that thumbs up button. Like I said, we got 400 videos on YouTube. So, if there's a electric fence box that you have, I probably worked on one. There's probably a video on YouTube of it somewhere. So, but maybe not all of them, but there's a good chunk of them. But anyways, until next time, remember to subscribe, and we'll see you guys later on.